nothing. It can be the greatest game in the world. If there are no people there to watch it, it becomes nothing.
Johnston. And a goal by Johnston. That makes it 2 by him.
We were magnificent. Magnificent.
Larson. Oh, he's in. Henrik Larsson. That is sensational. Nakamura.
The game is over. The Rebels have won.
He's done it! Garland's put it in, and without a doubt, the European Cup is on its way.
We'll never stop. We'll stop at half-time, and we'll stop at the end of the game when we celebrate.
Yes, what's happening, boys? What's happening, girls? Aye, Paddy, we're champions, mate. We are champions. We've just beaten Hearts 4-1.
We've got one hand on the trophy, mate.
That is it. That's it. Guys, we've just witnessed a brilliant victory at Parkhead against Hearts, and I am very happy, mate. I am very, very happy. We've been on a journey. This podcast has been on a journey. The viewers has been on a journey with us, man. And we went full circle. If you go back to what the opening game of the season when we lost the Hearts 2-1,
Yep.
in Midlothian, and now we've just spanked them 4-1. Now we are 9 points ahead of Rangers, albeit they've still got one game to play tomorrow. But even if they do claw back, even if they do claw back to 6 points, we've got a goal difference of 22 goals in our favour against our closest rivals. Man, what a journey it's been on. How do you feel? How did you see the game?
Aye, watched it on TV, mate. Listen, it was a great response. Because obviously we lost an early goal, really poor goal to concede pretty early on in the game, but we grew into the game and we started to bring the confidence, bring the swagger back as well. And we attacked and attacked and attacked, mate, and it paid off. And it was a day where we had to win convincingly. Delighted, mate, delighted. Obviously we saw the lineups at the start. We saw that Hatate was dropped, which we kind of expected. Who came in?
O'Reilly and Turnbull, they started alongside.
Turnbull was, sorry. Turnbull comes back in. O'Reilly continued on for Rogic, and it was the same kind of lineup as expected. But, listen, there was some very, very good performances, mate. It could have been another 6-7-0 victory again, but a couple of offsides, a couple of missed chances. But still, it's a great result. 4-1 to all but seal the title. And as you were saying, mate, full circle. So we played Hearts on the 31st of July, and that was at Tynecastle, and we beat 2-1. And look at where we've came from since then. We've got all the way through. We've won the League Cup, and we've now all but won the league in Angie's first season. Fucking brilliant, man.
You're not quite there. You're not quite admitting that we're champions. Mathematically, it's still possible for Rangers to claw back. But as we said, a 22 goal difference in our favour. So yeah, I cannot see, even with the amount of luck that Rangers have been riding on this season, I can't really see it going in their favour. The game itself, though, going into it, Hearts, obviously, for me, they're head and shoulders. They're the third best team in the country for a reason. The league table does.
Would you say they're third best cunts?
That's one way. That's one way to label third best. Aye, they are cunts, of course, but the best team in the league table does not lie. By the way, to the viewers for tuning in, watching, who've watched the game, and of course giving us your comments. Hope you're all doing well. Aye, the game itself, Hearts. They've got a really good shape about them. They're well drilled. They're physical as well. And as you said, in the opening 10 minutes, we were rusty and Hearts capitalised. There was a latecomer to the game who sat down and he said, "Oh, my mate just texted me to say that the Hearts goal was offside." So it was Sims. And I texted you before the game started to say that boy Sims, he's a big physical player. And that's one word that we've been using on the podcast for the past couple of weeks, especially against Rangers. Physicality, that word has been a bit of a feature recently. And Sims had physicality. So the goal itself that he scored, was it onside or was it offside?
I think going by the rules of the law, the rules, whatever you might call it, the fucking the offside rules. Now, technically, he was onside because Starfelt's trailing leg was ever so slightly by the guy. So I wasn't even too fussed about the kind of offside or onside kind of call about it, mate. I was more annoyed by the piss poor defending. It was really, really poor. A cross comes in for the left-hand side. It's a right-footed guy who swings it in. Sims is ever so slightly in front of Starfelt. The ball comes in and he manages to turn and get it in half volley. I thought it was pretty weak defended for Starfelt, and he's somebody that I've championed the last few weeks, the last couple of months, as raising up his game and being one of the biggest and best performers in the team, alongside Vickers at the back. But again, very, very poor, physically dominated by Sims, as you said, mate. It was a guy that was kind of worrying you at the start, or a guy that was on your mind, and lo and behold, he managed to score. But as I say, the goal came early, which didn't really affect us too much. But we definitely got our finger out our arses, and we obviously went and beat them 4-1.
We called a comment from Dermot. Celtic Rabito on his Mother's Day here in Australia. So imagine Postecoglou after the game will be having a nice wee chat to his mum. She'll be congratulating him for the league title, and he'll be wishing her a happy Mother's Day. After the first 10 minutes, Hearts started well. We were rusty, but we grew into it, and that's one of the things that Hearts couldn't really hang with us for the rest of the game. At times they had good patches, but over the course of the game we just grew into it and got better and better and better. And I think that kind of encapsulates this season for us. We've won by consistency. Like, we've won a lot of games like 4-0, 5-0, 6-0. There's been some great days at Parkhead and some tough away fixtures that we've pulled out of the bag. We've ground out results. We've obviously won away at Ibrox and stuff like that. We've won away at Hearts. We've won away at Livingston. We've seen the best of Celtic. So although I'm kind of still fixated on the league here as well, I know that you're quite not admitting to it that we've won, but I think this game, the performance.
I don't even know what that is, mate. But I just think after last season, and I know realistically the league's over, but I don't think I'll be fully satisfied until I see that ticker banner that says Glasgow Celtic champions. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm just reining it in and getting ready for a big massive celebration. I don't know, but I'm really looking forward to next Saturday, because it's going to be, obviously we've got Dundee United on Wednesday night up Tannadice, and then on the Saturday we've got Motherwell at Celtic Park. It's going to be a 12 o'clock kick-off. I think the weather's going to be decent, so it's gearing itself up to be a brilliant day for celebrating, mate. Get yourself to the Gallagher troops if you can.
I've had a picture in a while, actually, and I'm looking forward to the Wednesday game away to Dundee United. That should be fun, and of course we'll try and do a podcast after that match as well if we can. Paddy, over the course of the game itself, though, first half, although it was a bleak opener to the first half, I thought we really grew into it. And correct me if I'm wrong, we went in 2-1 at half time. So it was goals from Maida and Kyogo. And the first goal from Maida was pretty good. It was Jota who kind of broke free, and the Celtic cavalry managed to make a great run down the right. And he almost kind of used Kyogo as like a dummy, because he played it round the Hearts defender. Kyogo was standing in an offside position, and Kyogo just stood there and he didn't interfere with play. So Jota managed to
very, 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 very clever and sharp by Kyogo, not to touch the ball.
Yeah, he's a small player. So Jota continued to the right. He flashed it in for Maida, and Maida converted 1 each. And that kind of settled a few nerves, because I was thinking anyway, after Hearts scored the first goal, I was thinking, are they here to spoil that title party? But 1 each, and then Kyogo scored the second to put us into the league going into half time, and it was a funny one where he scored a header. And by the way, for such a wee man, he scores a lot of headers. He's got a great leap about him. Some would say Larsen-esque. And it went in over the line, but Craig Gordon, he tried to kind of claw it out. But I don't know if it was a linesman who flagged it up to say that it was a goal. So either way, we didn't need modern technology to prove that this actually did go over the line. What was your perspective on that goal, mate?
It took about maybe 2 or 3 seconds to kick in for the referee to blow for the goal. I think at the time it looked as if it went over, and then with the replays obviously showed that the ball was fully over. So I absolutely delighted. But at that point, I'd actually I'd actually switched on to Sky Sports for that goal, or just before the goal, sorry, and that fucking unbearable, miserable, horrible little prick Andy Walker was just every single time he tries to manipulate the situation into a negative for a Celtic goal, he was basically giving it like, the linesman's obviously got that one correct, but the linesman would never have seen that. It's just a guess. You know what I mean? You're like, shut the fuck up. It's a fucking goal, you wee scud book.
And who was the presenters? Was it Chris Boyd and McFadden or what? Who was on for Sky?
It was Ailey Barber was presenting. Fucking that arsehole Boyd was there, and Christoph Berra. Christoph Berra actually spoke really, really well, and through very gritted, fake teeth, as did Mr. Boyd.
Who spoke well? Did you say Berra spoke well? Yeah.
Yes, I think so, mate. Aye.
I guess I'm on he's in 11 now that he's.
And there's Kieran asking the question: what is the crack with Andy Walker? For fuck's sake! Well, Kieran, he's a arse-licking little fucking scrotum who does everything for his masters in Sky Sports.
But
anyway, enough of the negative chat. We're not here to be negative today. We're here to speak about us, probably as champions.
Going into the game, did you actually fear what Hearts could bring to the table? Did you think that it could have been a potential banana skin today?
No, Gav, I wasn't no confident, but I expected Hearts to come in and put up a fight because, as you said earlier on, mate, they're the third best team in the country. Now, they've just come up for the championship, and I think Robbie Nielsen's actually done a really, really good job. They're good in formation, you know, they set up well. They set up to actually, well, I say they set up well. Most of the times they set up well, and they set up most of the times to counter what their opposition can offer, rather than just playing a certain kind of style. What I was thinking was, because of the last couple of games that we've played against the Rotten Mob, they've introduced a more physical approach to their game, which has countered our kind of swashbuckling, fucking technical, fast, quick, kind of fluidity of the team. They've brought in a physicality to break that up and not let us play football in the midfield. Now, Hearts have got the players there to do that, and I thought that that's the way that they would have come in and made the approach to the game. But I don't think they actually come in too bad in that sense. But as you said earlier on as well, mate, the physicality of Sims and Bhoys up front as well was dangerous at times. Well, clearly they scored the first goal, but we did, mate. We responded well. We grew into the game and we started to dominate again. And as soon as the mind had gone, I knew there was going to be a couple of goals at least.
I thought for Hearts, Barry Mackay was their best outball. He looks to have a haircut since the last time I seen him at Parkhead. He actually had a pretty decent game, Barry Mackay, and of course they had Sims, the big centre forward playing up front. And I don't know who I prefer, him or Ick Piazzu. Do you remember him for like last season or 2 seasons ago? Hearts just always seem to have a big thumper up front. Even going back to the days of like Kevin Kyle.
But I think they can get away with that, Gab, because they play with a 3-4-3 formation. So more times than none, Bhoys is going to be your main outlet through the centre. So they introduced like a kind of like a Sims or a Piazza or whatever, and these guys can always cut in for the sides and back up their striker, which is it's a decent formation. Do you know what I mean for a smaller team like Hearts? But it's all about how you play against them.
One thing I noticed whenever we tried to do the overload from our fullback, so a couple of times, especially in the first half, when I saw Ralston coming into the centre of midfield, at that point, they really knew exactly what they were doing. They were well drilled. And whenever we created the overload in the centre of midfield, they would condense their numbers in the middle of the park. So our kind of numbers didn't count for shit. So they were basically trying to invite us to play onto the flanks. And then whenever we did that, they would then just shuffle over from left or to right. So they had a game plan. And as you said, Robbie Nielsen, they have done well, considering they were promoted for the Championship. Third best team in the country by a mile. The likes of your Aberdeen and Hibs, I don't need to digress too much, but Aberdeen and Hibs have been fucking miserable this season. But going into the second half, I actually thought that Hearts did start off well after half-time, unfortunately. But we then made the breakthrough later on. O'Reilly got his goal, and this was like a few minutes after him hitting the post. Remember that when he had a great shot, just rattled the post. Gordon had no chance. How would you weigh up O'Reilly's performance today? Obviously, he's going in ahead of Rogic. Rogic has been there. He's done it. He's got a kick up. O'Reilly, a slightly different player. Too many people say that they're too similar. Obviously, a tall, kind of elegant-looking player, but for me, very much a different player from Rogic. So, how would you assess his overall performance today? And of course, he got a goal a few minutes later. Just before I go into that, mate, I'd like to just point out there's a lovely number there, and the people that's watching live, and we're sitting at 67, so it's a great number. Yes, mate. O'Reilly. Listen, I like the big guy. I think he's technically very, very gifted, and albeit he's young. He's coming in with a good pedigree. He's coming in with a good kind of reputation. He's still getting up to speed at Celtic as well. But I think he should be the guy that really is feeding the likes of Jota, outright, Maeda, the guys that's got the buster pace and speed. But he's able to get forward. He has a goal threat. He does draw people out as well. He's obviously kind of similar in the respect of he's big, he's left-footed, he's strong. He's a forward-fighting midfielder who's technically very well gifted. So that in turn you could say that's the kind of similarities with Rogic. But there is obviously differences. Rogic's game is all about taking on defenders and driving at people. Try to keep a bit of space in the middle of the park or out wide, whatever, where he's got the ball, he likes to shield it. Whereas O'Reilly gets the ball, he usually maybe takes about 2 or 3 touches, and he's always looking to kind of make that killer ball through to your Kyogos or Jotas, Maedas, whoever it is. But I think at the start, mate, the first half especially, I was looking up and he looked really, really slow. I thought he looked as if he was fucking tugging the Titanic. But again, he was a guy that grew into the game. But I don't think his game in the first half was helped by Turnbull. I thought Turnbull was fucking awful, mate. And I know he's just back into the team. I know he's been out for a long time injury. But again, he offered hee-haw in this game for me. And the reason why I wasn't too happy with that was because that we brought Hatate out. Hatate needed a rest. There's no question about it. I don't think anybody wanted Hatate to play the day. But you're thinking, right, Hatate goes out, a guy who's offered nothing, or virtually nothing, or minus nothing the last couple of weeks because of his fitness issues. You're dropping him and then you're bringing in a guy who does fuck all. So, for me, I don't know. It's been kind of... I've seen that kind of a lot this season when Turnbull's been playing. But again, it's his first game back and it's his first start. So I'll let my way with that today. Not that many fucking maybe letting away with it, but you know what I mean. But one of the key features of Turnbull's play is shooting from outside the box. I never saw that from him today, but I would also kind of say that perhaps he never quite had the opportunity. A lot of the time he likes it when he's on counter attack and he's bearing down on the defence, and then he can shoot on goal. I don't think he was quite in that position today. And a lot of times when he was outside the box, I was going Hollywood. A lot of times, but that's my point as well about Turnbull. See, unless he's getting service,
he doesn't go and try and win the ball. Well, he does do it, sorry, but he doesn't do it enough for me. And that's what you need, especially for a centre midfielder at Celtic. We need these guys to be coming in and imposing themselves on the game. They don't need to be fucking flying out of tackles or anything, but they need to be taking control of the ball. They need to be making things happen. For me, Turnbull doesn't get himself into the areas. It's almost as if he's kind of shy. In that respect, he doesn't go in and takes things by force. Do you know what I mean? So it's something he's going to need to work on and kind of pull his finger out a wee bit. But as I say, first start back in a long time. So today was his chance to impress. I don't think he done it, but yeah, we'll move on. Doesn't matter. But I thought, listen, by the way, listen, sorry, mate, just before we wrap up with Turnbull, I thought Callum McGregor again was absolutely exceptional. I thought he controlled everything. He was back everywhere. He was tackling. He's got a Swiss Army knife, mate, in that midfield. He's literally performs. He performs the deepest role. He performs the central role. He performs the attacking role. Plus, he then goes out wide as well. You know, so an absolute brilliant wee guy. Great captain this season, as far as I'm concerned. And I was watching the interview after the game, mate, and I was watching him, mate, and I had a wee bit of pride, like, you know, because I remember him making his debut as a fucking 21-year-old, I think, now, and now there he is, standing up there, speak to the cameras after the game, captain's armband on, and he's just about to be the captain that lifts the title for Celtic. So, aye, well done, Callum McGregor.
Well, let's talk about that. Okay, I'm going to assume that what the league has done. These players, everybody involved from top to bottom, have now etched themselves into Celtic's history. The pundits were talking about it. I was listening to the radio driving home after the game, and the pundits were talking about it. That I think it was Mark Wilson especially. He said that this season, this championship winning team is one of the most memorable, if you put it into the context of where we started and how we finished up. So these people, from Ange Postecoglou to Callum McGregor, as you said, the captain. McGregor done it, of course. He was there. He was obviously kind of in the shadow of Scott Brown, but now he's came to the fore. He's done it as a captain. He got the away win at Ibrox, which is a massive knock from your belt as a Celtic captain. And of course now he's won the title for Celtic, and his first ever season as Celtic captain is magnificent. And of course, Postecoglou's done it. Everybody's been involved. Even the backroom staff, who people had been written off, such as your Gavin Strackens and your John Kennedy. Some of the criticism they were getting was almost verging on the personal. But all these people from top to bottom have been involved. So I wanted to ask you, what do you think has been the key ingredient for this Celtic win? This league win?
For the title win?
Yeah.
Excuse me. So obviously it's been a mixture of things, mate. It's been getting a manager in who's instilled a belief back into the squad. There is players in this squad for last season, and they've obviously went for an incredible low last season to come into this team now, and they've created an incredible high. They've came for nothing. They've came for ridicule. They've came for negativity. They've came for every single angle, you know, laughing at them and saying that they're not going to do any of this, they're not going to do that, they're going to fit. Hugh Keevins had us touted to finish third in the league. You know what I mean? So that's what you were up against. Even when Postecoglou came in, you know, admittedly, without any shame, there was a lot of Celtic supporters were like, who is this guy? Another unknown quality. Here we go again. This is the bold fucking shafting us once again. But it's just turned out to be an excellent appointment. I think every single player has bought into his ideologies, the way he wants to play. I was speaking to a footballer the other day, an Australian laddie, who played under Ange Postecoglou a few years back, and he says that I says to him, what is Ange's best qualities as a manager? And he says the guy. He says you feel as if you're 10 feet tall when he speaks to you. He says his man management, he says, it's top notch. He says tactically wise, he says he's great as well. He says, but first and foremost, he says man management. It makes you believe that you're a good player. It makes you believe that you're a better player. So I think for me, mate, that's what he's done. He's also clearly brought in players who have fitted his style. Now, we kind of spoke about it all through the season. does Ange have a plan B? And we've been told time and time again, even by Ange, no, I don't have a plan B. But I think where we can maybe say a plan B is that he's brought in different players who can all adapt and play into a nice fluid system. You know, you end up with guys like Maeda, who has played most of his time out in the kind of left forward role, but he's a guy that can play the central striker. He's a guy that can play the right wing. Jota's the same. Jota can play anywhere across the front three. So can Kyogo. And then we get guys like Giacomakis, who has been worth his weight in gold in some games, mate, as that proper old school centre forward, big bruiser, penalty box striker, you know. And then you get guys like Tony Ralston coming up. Sorry, text message. Guys like Tony Ralston coming back in for the periphery, believing in themselves again, bringing in Croatian right backs. You know, aye, mate, it's just been a whirlwind. As Ange says the other day, it's been like an arm wrestle. You know, it's always went back in races, but I've always believed that we'll get it over the line, and we're almost there. We're literally there. We're at a ball head away from it.
You know what I was thinking? Everybody's pulled together in the right direction. And I was just kind of thinking how it might have turned out if we still kept Don Mackay as the chief executive. Can you imagine that? Obviously, after I don't know, was it 72 days, something like that? After a period into his tenure, the board just said, no, the guy's a liability, he has to go. And of course, we brought in Michael Nicholson, who is a legal expert, I believe. And he's made a seamless transition, and obviously he's got a good, healthy working relationship with Ange. I'm just wondering, because everything is kind of came together, everybody's working in harmony, how it might have ended up if we kept Don Mackay there. But in terms of the ingredients, you know, it's everything from top to bottom. The coaches, the manager, the players, they've all brought into the ethos. We made a good decision getting Postecoglou. Of course, we wanted Eddie Howe. I still think Eddie Howe would have made a good job of it because he's a good manager. There's no denying that. But they deemed that Postecoglou was going to be the man. And Postecoglou has risen to the fore. We never got the treble, but we got the double. And that's still fantastic. But instead of the start of the season, where we ended up right now, the amount of doubters, people in the media, and even the professionals as well, everybody was doubting Celtic and Postecoglou, ridiculing him. So where we are right now, hats off to the guy, hats off to everybody involved, and it's a great day to be a Celtic supporter.
Yeah, and here's a wee comment from Jim App. I'm assuming maybe Jim's Australian. Ange winning another You Can't Win title. Brisbane Roar were hopeless. Yoko hadn't won in 13 years. Australia's first Asian Cup, and Celtic minus 25 points last year. Well played, Ange. Well played. Mate, it's been a magnificent turnaround. So you get a guy in who just has made the players believe in themselves, and it's not just the players on the park, mate. You look at the atmosphere. You look at the support now. The entire support was fractured last season. I know you had the kind of pandemic ongoing as well. People couldn't get to the games. You couldn't vent your frustration at the games like you would normally do. You couldn't go and socialise with people. So everything was it was a massive powder keg last season. And we saw what happened when supporters were left in the dark. The board wouldn't answer them. The manager wouldn't answer them. They took it upon themselves to go and protest at the stadium. Some may have taken it a bit too far. But the kind of point was there that we can't get into the stadium. He's only listening to us. So here we are. We're here telling you what we're fucking thinking. We need things to change. Didn't change. Culminated in a disaster. The entire season, last season. And I think if one of the comments that I heard was that last season we basically relinquished our title against Dundee United last year. And now it's going to be the entire reverse, that will probably clinch it at Dundee United this year. So, total mirror image, mate. Yin and yang. Great. Fantastic.
That's it. For the remainder of the game itself, going back to the actual game today, so we had O'Reilly who scored, of course, and Giacomakis who came on as a substitute for Kyogo. He got a goal as well. And it was a typical Giacomakis goal. Forrest actually set him up.
Cheers, Keith.
Beautiful man. Two beautiful men. Thank you, mate. Cheers. Yeah.
By the way, that's Keith at the Come On The Hoop Celtic page. So, as we always do, mate, we always champion our friends. So, we've got Keith there, Come On The Hoop Celtic, give him a watch YouTube.
I hope that's not the beer goggles you've got right now.
Better be. We've also as well got Dale at the Celtic Supporters Podcast, Tommy Sheridan, I'm Frank East Tommy. Give them all a watch. Great guys.
Absolutely. Aye.
But first and foremost, watch us.
Of course, mate. How important is it for Giakoumakis? See, you could see how raging he was earlier on. Did you notice it whenever? So first off, my point is I'm happy that Giakoumakis got a goal because that's what he feeds upon. That's what he prides himself upon. Did you see how raging he was earlier on, just before he got the goal? Whenever the ball was played in on a counter attack, and Abada was running onto it. Abada was clearly offside, but Abada still went for the ball. But Giakoumakis was a few yards behind him, and Giakoumakis was shouting at the poor Israeli for touching the ball. Well, Giakoumakis could have collected it, and he would have been onside. Did you notice that? And did that kind of, for me, that encapsulates the man. He just wants to score every time he's on the park.
Mate, that's what you want for your players. You want your players to see. To be seen showing desire. They want to win the ball. They want to be greedy. You know, you can be greedy in the right way because it just shows that you just want to win. And if you're a striker, your main thing is wanting to score goals. So if you're not scoring goals and you won't feel as if you're doing your job. You know what I mean? But it's great. It's great to see Giakoumakis getting onto the score sheet again. We had a great goal as far as I'm concerned. Because I genuinely do. I think he's a cracking player. As I say, he's another player that offers us a different dimension for what we've got because you've got Kyogo who came in and instantly made himself a Celtic hero for his first goal. And then moving up, scoring the goals, it was getting us back up the league because at one point we were all the sixth in the league. And then, you know, getting the win in the cup, the League Cup final. Obviously had his injuries, but at that point, Giakoumakis was coming back to full fitness. He was coming back to confidence. So we've been lucky that in that sense this year that we've no been left without. We've had players there that can step in, and we've now got players who can compete with each other. I think Maeda and Kyogo are a bit too similar for me because they're two guys that always want to drop deep and go and press the ball. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you've got Maeda, Kyogo, and Jota, for instance, that's your front three. At times you've got Kyogo and Maeda chasing the same ball, or chasing the same man, or chasing the same area. So it then leaves you with a gap in the middle. You know, if you get a quick break of the ball, then you're really trying to pass it to Jota, who's maybe up against two or three guys. So I think for me, that's where Giakoumakis comes in handy because he likes to stay central. Does drift a wee bit, but mainly he's in the centre, and you always know that he's going to be there. But I just love it that we've got variations and we've got quality in variations as well. So the squad that Andrew's built this season, mate, it's been great. All the Australian guys, all the Japanese guys and punditry and whatever told us at the start of the season when Andrew was coming in, do not expect to see the best Ange team until his second season. So if this is what we saw in his first season, my God, mate, if the guys are right, then next season is going to be you're going to be constantly wanting about Stoner.
Right, I've got 2 points for you, and please don't do that. Please don't work with Stoner unless it's in your own house, the privacy of your own home. But I've actually got two questions. So the first one was going back to Kyogo, Giakoumakis, and the fact that Abada is. So again, this is to you, but to the viewers, correct me if I'm wrong. I think Abada got 10 league goals for Celtic. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. And I think after today, Kyogo's got 9, Giakoumakis has got 9. So it's funny how things have worked out for Celtic in the league that Abada has got the most goals for Celtic. And I wanted to ask you, how do you think it will finish up next season, at the end of next season? Who will be Celtic's top goal scorer? I'm going to kind of put in a Molenbeek comment with, this might be a controversial one. I genuinely think that if we started Giakoumakis and more games than Kyogo in the league this is, I think Giakoumakis is capable of scoring more goals than Kyogo is. It might be different. Opposite from Europe, I think, and your domestic league, Giacomakis is your goal getter. Give him the ball, he will score.
Totally agree. I would love to see us fit into a formation where we can play the two guys. I don't see Ange. I don't know. He might change it, but I can't see anything other than if you're going to play the two guys, then Kyogo needs to go to the left-hand side or the right-hand side. I don't know. But Giacomakis, for me, I would, just because of the style of football that I like to see, and I always like to go with a proper forward, I would always be going with Giacomakis. But again, Kyogo scored a great number of goals. It's really, really important goals as well. So, as I say, it's a great headache to have, mate, if you're the manager. And no, but no, to answer your question, mate, I totally agree with you. I would be going with Giacomakis as well, and finding some equilibrium there where you can squeeze the two guys in. Mm-hmm. Maybe even try Kyogo in the 10, just like a kind of shadow striker. I don't know.
And the end of the season, who do you think is likely to end up as Celtic's top goal scorer in the league?
Giacomakis.
Right. Brings me on to my second point. And again, the viewers to that question, tell us what you think. Who is more likely to score more goals for Celtic if they play them regularly?
And there's Palmer all the way for Holland. How you doing, pal? He's saying they're both great strikers, and Celtic can only be very happy. And Palmer's somebody who's been on the pod for the last couple of months. And great addition to the commenters. Palmer's obviously has saw a lot of Giacomakis and rates him very, very highly. So Palmer, just you tell us, pal, what do you think? I'd like to hear for yourself. Do you think we should be going with Giacomakis or Kyogo, especially given your kind of background knowledge? I know a lot about Giacomakis for the Eredivisie.
Mm-hmm. And one other thing, if you don't mind, to Palman, obviously we've been having some great comments for you over the past weeks, months, and pardon the word, but it enriches the podcast. Just out of curiosity, how did you stumble upon being a Celtic fan? Curious to know about that. Obviously, we're happy with it. It's our benefit. We love hearing from you. But how did you become a Celtic fan?
And by the way, something that we were going to do as well. We were going to wait until the end of the season, but we were going to start offering viewers, commenters, the chance to come on if anybody's fancy it. If he's got the time and he's fancy making a wee appearance, get he's on, and you can tell the world as well. So anybody wants to do that, give us a wee message or a wee thing in the corner or whatever. But he's more than welcome.
Thanks, man. And the other thing, touching on the second season of Ange, you can alluded to it earlier on. So everybody, whenever we've spoken to people, especially the people from Australia, as a bit of the people who knew about Postecoglou firsthand from Australia and then from Japan, a lot of the kind of cliched stories where the first season is a slow burner, but second season, that's when you're going to have a lot of fun, when you're going to see them in full fluidity. Paddy, we hear that a lot of times, but can we take it for granted that Celtic are going to be just far, far stronger next season? What do you think the hurdles are going to be for next season? Because we've got very strong Rangers right now. Do you think we can take it for granted that Celtic are just automatically going to get stronger? Obviously, we've still got the kind of question over Cameron Carter-Vickers and Jota. We're hearing positive reports about Jota, but not to kind of fixate on that. Are we automatically just going to be a stronger team next season? Where do you think that the challenges will be?
Well, the challenges straight away off the bat is if you do lose Vickers and Jota, because they're two influential guys in the team. So if you lose them right away, you're losing two massive figures. So that's kind of job number one, replacing the guys. Excuse me. Number two is actually quite a positive thing, mate, and I think it's the amount of players that we're going to have who is going to be vying for places. So it's going to be a headache for Ange to try and figure out where best to use these guys and who's going to get game time where and here. But as I say, that's a very, very good kind of dilemma to have. Number 3, I would say yes. Hate to mention it, I really do, but we've got to mention it. They bastards along the road. If they win that cup in the next week or two, which, my God, if there is a God, anybody's watching up there, please, please, please defeat those heathens. Don't let them do it. If they win that cup, mate, they basically will be getting riches. I think one of the figures that I saw was up to £75 million because of their running the Europa, the money they'll get for the Champions League, but they'll go straight into pot 1. If they win, again, please not, but if they do, they'll go straight into pot 1. So where we were talking about the other week there, during the week, about how we can now possibly go and attract bigger and better players because we have got that official Champions League group stage qualification. We can offer that as a carrot to signing a better quality of player. Potentially, they could be doing the same, if not maybe a wee bit higher, because they've clearly got some good European runs the last couple of seasons and potentially a fucking Europa League win. So there could be that, mate. I know it's hypothetical, but it's a chance, you know. So they could be signing a higher caliber of player, but we've got to trust Ange.
I think Paddy has frozen. I think the point he was making about there being a God is that God works in mysterious ways. And, you're back with us, Paddy.
Sorry, mate. Was that me? Was that you?
I think it was you because I was watching the counter and the right, time was still.
Aye, maybe that was fucking somebody trying to tell me something sharp. But I think we've just got to trust the system, mate. We've got to trust Ange. We've now got to trust the kind of relationship that Mark Lawwell is going to have with Ange in terms of bringing players in. So I think whatever we do it as best as we can and just try and do our best next season in the league. You know, try and retain our soon-to-be title.
I'll tell you one thing, one improvement in our gameplay that I really want to see. You know, whenever the ball is in defence and we're knocking it from fullback, and it's normally Starfelt to Hart, Starfelt to Cameron Vickers. I want to read this Parliament. I've started to follow Celtic because our Greek myth played for VBV Venlo. So Giacomakis is talking about there, of course, and there were restrictions, so I've never really seen him play live. I just want to see as much as possible from him. Parlin, I'm glad that we've got Giacomakis. It's just the fact that you're subscribing to a podcast and you watch us daily or watch us weekly. Thank you for that. So,
and by the way, thanks to everybody, because obviously there's no point in us doing this if you guys can't go on and have a platform to speak your mind as well. So much as we do this for a hobby for ourselves, we do it for you guys and all, because we have got a really, really good crowd of followers, a good gang of guys who speak every single week. Comment section, he's all talk amongst yourself. It's great to see. So thanks to everybody that's been joining in. There's another guy who's been here for the start, Joe Agnew. Hail, boys. It's not about the money. Just get a few players in and keep training hard. Never mind what Seth will do. Hail. Keep the faith. Yes, mate. Thanks to Joseph.
Right, Paddy. The point I was making is, you know, the kind of the heart and mouth play that we have when we're knocking about in defence and back to the goalkeeper and we're getting pressed like fuck, and sometimes we end up losing possession deep in our own half. I think that's possibly how Hearts scored the goal today, because they got a throw in deep in our half from us just pissing about in the back. I hope that we become more confident, and I hope that the coaching over the summer kind of irons out a lot of the kind of the frailties that we have, and people get more confident doing that, because that's part of the Ange gameplay. He's not going to say, it's not fucking working, let's just put it in the bin. He's going to persevere with it. So I want to see that improvement next season, that is less heart and mouth, become more fluid, more confident, more options.
I know what you're saying. I would love to see us eradicate that completely, because as you say, it's fucking heart and mouth. We're getting older now, Gav, so we're in the stages where we could actually go and have a heart attack. We're probably fucking watching this Celtic team, you know what I mean? But I can only see that getting better the more players play that way and get more confident in that kind of style of playing. Obviously, we can do that by bringing in a better quality, a better calibre of player. We might need to do that if we're going to replace Vickers at the back. If we replace Vickers at the back, if we have to, sorry, I would like to see us sign a defender who can more play on the left-hand side, and I would like us to put Starfelt to the right-hand side of the defence. Because as you know, mate, I've spoke about it for the first minute I saw him in a Celtic jersey. Until now, I think he still looks unbalanced playing as the left-sided defender, because I think his left foot is very, very weak. So I would like to see him on the other side where he could be possibly more comfortable. But
we've spoken about it with Carol Starfelt. Have you ever seen the movie Moneyball with Brad Pitt? And it's about baseball and it's about signing players, because their statistics are very, very good, even though they might look a wee bit ugly on the eye. I think that Starfelt, a lot of times he does look cumbersome, he does look awkward, but we're champions, and that's because Starfelt has been integral to our squad. It doesn't look pretty, it somehow works. But the thing about Starfelt is he's given the responsibility of the main distributor of possession from defence. Cameron Carter-Vickers cannot do that. Cameron Carter-Vickers does what he does well, and that's defending, but not really passing. That's not really a part of his repertoire. He keeps it very, very simple, and therefore the responsibility is on Starfelt to do that sort of thing. So when you're talking about getting in a better calibre player, of course I'm open to that. That's about moving on as champions and proving you don't remain the same. That's Rangers' downfall. They won the league last year because they were the better team by far, but they failed to capitalise on that. We, of course, have to capitalise on our superiority. You build from our position strength, buy better calibre of players. That's it.
Yep.
And by the way, before I forget, I thought Greg Taylor had an excellent game today. I think over the course of the season, he's been getting better and better and better. I'm not saying that he's going to be the main choice left back next season. I would be open to us spending good dosh on a proper good left back. Mm-hmm. But yes, give the man his due. Give the man his due. And I thought today he was very, very good. What do you think?
As you say, mate, when we win this league, I'm saying when, be positive, when we win this league, when it's official that we have become the league champions, every player that's played this season will have played their part in that, you know. So everybody, to a man, deserves the credit for it. I know a lot of guys like myself, again, shamefully admittedly, took the piss out of Taylor at the start of the season. Same with Ralston as well, but these guys they've plugged away, mate. They've tried and tried and tried, and they've done their best for the team. Even though they've not been the best, they have tried their heart out. So that's all you can ask for as a player, first and foremost, is that you try, give 100% effort. And I do think the guys do that. But you can see the difference now with Ralston. You can tell that Juranovic is just better than Ralston. As much as Ralston's got his qualities, and I do really, really like the boy, he's a big unit, which I like to see kind of in defence. You can tell that the Croatian right back, the Croatia right back that we've got playing at right back for us is a better calibre a player than Ralston. So we need that on the other side as well. But again, where you've got the qualities in Ralston, that's good because you need two good players for every position at least. So we need that left back because we've not got that. If Greg Taylor goes out, then it's going to be fucking Liam Scales, who isn't getting a sniff. You're talking Bolly, who won't be here next season. I don't know. Adam Montgomery coming back. That's no progression. That's regression. If we just leave it to Greg Taylor being the left back and having Montgomery coming in, deputising, can't do that. We need to get bigger, we need to get better, we need to be stronger, we need to be more aggressive, and we can only do that by working with what we've got and making it better. Bringing in a few quality additions. Again, it might turn out to be another couple of additions if you don't get Carter, Vickers or Jota. Now, I heard Postecoglou after the game, and he was asked outright about Jota, and he did say that if both parties want the deal to happen, he says it will happen. So for me, that gives me confidence that the two clubs are trying to iron out a deal. which I've heard that already anyway. What I've been told is that Jota's asking for a certain amount of money that Celtic aren't prepared to pay. So there's going to need to be negotiations, but Jota does want to stay at Celtic, and Celtic obviously want Jota, but I think that there's going to be some competition for England now. Vickers as well. I think Vickers, as the, I think he's on a decent wage down in England. So I think right now, as it stands, we've got more chance of getting Jota than we have Vickers.
And it's worthwhile pointing out that Vickers has just had his first US call-up since, I think, 2019. So he never had that when he was playing for Bournemouth last season. I would like to see Ralston have a go at goals. And from Stephen Kelly, I hope all this taking forever to clear the deadwood and sign players is over. We have to act quick, get the squad ready for next season starting. Of course, and by the way, one of the kind of conundrums for over the course of the summer is getting in players so that and doing a pre-season so that they're ready for the Champions League qualifiers, which start at the very end of July. Fortunately, thank fuck we don't have to go through that gauntlet. You know, that gauntlet of 8 qualifiers, which spans into home and away legs. So it's like eight bloody games. So thankfully, we're going to do the Champions League group stage the first time. That's going to be a massive advantage, Paddy.
Well, as we know, mate, as you and I spoke about with McGinty during the week, if you haven't watched it, jump onto YouTube, Tuesday TikTok. The last episode, we spoke about the appointment of Mark Lawwell, which was made during the week. I think it was Wednesday. It was announced. Oh no, Tuesday was, wasn't it? Sorry, Monday, Tuesday. Anyway, it was announced last week, and basically the timing of it was the day after the announcement that was made that Celtic would be competing in the Champions League outright because of the sanctions for Russia. As we all know, it's an ongoing kind of worldwide issue with the Russian sanctions everywhere. So that's helped us out in terms of automatic qualifications for Champions League group stages. The winners of the league, which we obviously know is us. So as soon as that announcement was made, then Celtic officially announced that Mark Lawwell, yes, son of Peter, was appointed as the head of transfers and negotiations kind of thing. Basically a director of football, but in scouting kind of terms. So they've done that early. So that tells me that they've already been working together already, because they've not just went like that, all right, that's us into the Champions League, right, go and phone Mark Lawwell and see if he wants a job. No, they've already been in negotiations, but they must have fast-tracked the announcement so that they can now officially go and start to work as a Celtic, like, so he can now go and approach players as a member of Celtic. You know what I mean? So I just think, mate, I think we've already started the process weeks ago of identifying players.
If we look at the Japanese boys, not to interrupt, just you continue on with the comment, but if the Japanese boys that we signed at the very start of January, in fact, I think it was actually the 31st of December that they signed for us, if that's anything to go by, then we know that we'll be just as prepared for this summer as what we were for that January transfer window.
Mm-hmm. Aye, and the difference is with last summer, obviously, Ange. We all know, if you know about Ange, if you've researched him, you'll know that Ange has got his own personal database of players. He actively scouts all the time. He does it through Y Scout kind of platforms like that, which is like a subscription thing for all the managers and scouts. They go in and they can see every single player worldwide. They get all the clips of them. So he does it, and it's got all the stats and analysis, all this kind of stuff. He's got all that. He's got his own database that he's made up as well. So he's got a massive, massive list of potential recruits. But where that needs to kick in is where your club is at. So, like at the start of last season, they would have been recruiting players and offering the carrot of, this is where you can come to Celtic. We're in a rebuild. We might not win the league. We're not really saying that we can win the league, but we would like you to come in and help us to try and win the league, maybe a cup, you know. and we need to try and get into Europe in some kind of capacity. So you're right away, you're kind of players that you're going for might be put off by that because they'll be looking for clubs in England, or they'll be looking for teams that's like in the Europa League and the Champions League. But now, as I say, our negotiations, we've got a better couple of hands. You know what I mean? Got a couple of better cards to deal with, because we can now say, we're in the Champions League. Do you want to be a Champions League player? Do you want to come to Celtic and be part of a fucking title-winning team? Do you want to help us try and regain our title? Do you want to play in front of these 60,000 fans who have been absolutely magnificent all season? Look at what they've done. Look at how we've transformed players. Look at how this team has brought in players and made them better. Guys like Vickers, an unwanted guy down in England. He's done the loan spells everywhere. He's come up here and he's totally became a fan favourite. Joe Hart, a guy who was ridiculed across world football for the last 5 years. In fact, for Guardiola let him go for Man City. He's been ridiculed every season. He's been worse. He's been laughed at in Italy. He's been laughed at in England. They were still laughing at him when he signed for Celtic, saying he was a donkey. Now he's come up here. The fans love him. He's turned into a title-winning keeper. He's won a cup and he's played in Europe. And he's been part of a terrific defence. So that's what Celtic can do for players. We all know that. We've done it before in the past, but now we can actively turn around and say, there's what I've done so far, but now we can make it even better, because there's a Champions League. You're going to be playing with the theme tune under the lights on a Tuesday, Wednesday night, and we're going to have a right good go at it. Come.
That's it, mate.
We've got money to spend as well.
Another selling point is the certainty of Champions League football, and it's been a long time since we've been able to offer that to people. So thank God for that. Paddy, we're going to be back on for Wednesday night. I would hope so. Wednesday night we've got Dundee United away. That'll be on. I would imagine. I'm not saying it with certainty, but Sky Sports. So we'll try and watch it on the TV. So I think I'll be available for the post-match podcast.
Mate, I'll absolutely, mate. I'll 100% be there, because that'll be the night that we will officially be confirmed as champions, and I'll be fucking loving it.
It'd be a fucking sad day if you turned around and said, "No, I fancy a wee early night on a Wednesday."
Nah, I'm just going to sit and watch Coronation Street. Aye, so I will.
And of course, we'll be back on Tuesday night as well for the Tuesday TikTok. Looking forward to that, and it'll be about the pre-match for Dundee United and what we can expect for that, and more shit talk as well. What have we got for? Is that Kaiser?
Yes, Kaiser.
Andrew's type of football and management style will attract a high calibre of player. No, it has been seen in Europe and proven successful domestically. Yeah.
Yep. And Kieran says it as well. Do you want to be Celtic? Do you want to be the Champions League? Do you want to be part of the Tim family, or be in the Mankey mob? Yes, that's a great selling point, mate.
I would buy that.
So, listen, there's a lot of new guys on as well commenting. We've got nearly 200 people watching live. So, if you've not done it already, guys, jump onto our YouTube page. Give us a like and a subscription, because, as we all know, that's our platform. That's where we get that's where we do all our stuff. So it does make a massive help if we can get the likes up, the subscriptions up. You don't know how much it means to us, and it helps us to keep producing weekly free content. It doesn't cost you a penny to go on and press the wee like button and the wee subscription button. So if you can do that for us, guys, please, that would be an absolute brilliant move by you.
Imagine if we totally changed as a podcast next season, and within the opening 30 seconds of our intro, we're like, Manscaped, for men, buy it. We fucking love it. You should love it too. Imagine doing that.
Mate, I couldn't do that, because I would be too tempted to just drop my pants and show you my freshly shaved Bhoys. And if I'm doing that, mate, I want a paid subscription. I'm not doing that for free. Sorry.
No, that's why you do OnlyFans, mate. Come on, don't talk about it here.
By the way, listen, me and Gav joke all the time. I've not got on OnlyFans, but if the gas and fucking lecky prices continue to go up, I'll probably need to start putting my arse on fucking the internet. I might end up owing money, I don't know. I might end up dead if I do that. Yes, Jamie, mate, absolutely. Just for the sake of humanity, please, everybody, go and buy a Frankfurt tap. I'm getting back to chapel tomorrow. I'm going to pray to everybody. I'm going to go to the mosque as well. Start praying to every single god under the under the banners. Please, come on, Frankfurt. Yes. Right. Oh, goodness.
Let's not end up with a bad note like that. Guys, we are champions. We're fucking champions. It's been a hard year, but we are champions.
There's a wee message for Florida, Gav. Margaret Webb. Hail from Florida. Love my Celtic. Thank you very much, Margaret. I hope the weather's, well, it should be. It's fucking Florida. I hope the weather's lovely. So thanks very much for the comment all the way. Paul Kavanagh, it's in the bag, troops. 10 out of 11 is no bad. And you're right, mate. When we are confirmed champions, that will be 10 league titles in the last 11 years. Now, I know that we would have preferred to have seen the title won last season, but it's still a great feat. And I think this title, Gav, goes a massive, massive way to eradicating the memories of last season, because everything's new, forward thinking.
The glory isn't just righting the wrongs of last season. The glory is because of where we started from. You know, everybody had written us off. The football team, the management team, everybody had written us off. That's where the glory is. And as I said earlier on in the podcast, the people who've been involved in this title win have etched their names into Celtic history. Postecoglou will always be remembered as a Celtic hero. He'll never have to buy a pint in Glasgow. That's that.
Correct.
That's
There's Kieran as well. Here, the Jungle Gyms, a great show. I love all these Celtic pods in the last few years. Aye, thanks very much, mate.
Don't know if it's Paddy's internet. Paddy's internet.
It's me, mate. My internet's fucking terrible for some reason.
Hey, okay, let's quit while we're ahead then.
Aye, that's somebody telling us to shut up now.
Right, guys, I love in the comments. Hope you enjoyed the game today. We'll be back for Tuesday night TikTok, roughly about 7 o'clock in the evening. After that, we'll do a post-match review Wednesday night after Dundee United. So, Paddy, any final thoughts from yourself before we wrap up?
No, just a great day again, mate, to be a Celtic supporter. Again, unofficial champions. It's still not mathematically complete and over the line yet, but come Wednesday, I'll be far more vocal because we will be the champions on Wednesday officially. So a great job done by Ange Postecoglou, everybody in the background team, people on the board as well have done a magnificent job this season domestically, and the players as well. But first and foremost, delighted for the fans. The fans deserve every single success, mate, and it's the Celtic family is back and happy again, mate. So yes, delighted.
In the life of being a Celtic fan, the highs and the lows, but I'm not waiting until Wednesday before I celebrate. I'm celebrating today. So guys, join us. Have a great weekend. Catch us for the Jungle Gyms.